when you choose to be the bigger person in the face of chaos, in the face of being triggered, in the face of people trying to fight with you, argue with you, call you names, make fun of you, whatever it may be, you are always choosing the best possible choice. Because when you fight fire with fire, you burn the whole place down. Or another saying for this is, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Hi, I'm Julia. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. So today's video is all about why we need to choose to be the bigger person even when it's hard. And this really came to me over the course of the past few days. I've been really taking in a lot of the messages I read on Snapchat, and most of them are super kind, like genuinely the kindest, most supportive messages. Most of my followers are truly the kindest, most supportive people. But then there are some, and I just call them hate watchers because I don't know what else to deem them as, since you could tell they're fans because they're watching everything so diligently and picking it apart, but to the detriment of themselves and in a way me who's reading it. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be if I don't take it that way. And that's where we're gonna get into the whole part about being the bigger person, because I can see when somebody is looking at you, and it doesn't have to be people on the internet, it could be people in your life, it could be anyone really, but if someone is looking at you, your life, your choices, and they are so critical, they're so judgmental of them, that is their own stuff that they are projecting out onto you. They might deep down really like you so much that they want to be you. Maybe they're so jealous of who you are, and that's why they're doing this. We don't know the reasoning, and it's hard to assume what it might be without actually being them and having their perspective. But we can take it like this: if somebody is that invested in your life and having all these opinions on you, it's probably because they're a little obsessed with you and your life because they don't like theirs and they're miserable in their own life, and they see your life and they're like, okay, I'm gonna put all my hatred on this person and pick them apart because that's what I'm doing within me. Besides just online, I most of the time see this with women, sometimes women friends, like two girls that are best friends and they fight a lot, like sisters or even real life sisters. It's not that they don't care about each other, because they probably do deep down, but they're so insecure of themselves that they pick apart the other person in an attempt to make themselves feel better, which doesn't do anything for them or the other person other than bring each other down. But if you are in the position of the person who is being brought down by another, whether it's somebody really close to you, like a friend or a sister or a caretaker or someone you're in a relationship with or someone online, first of all, you don't have to take that. You don't have to accept that behavior or that treatment. That's first off. Second off, if this is somebody that you're not willing to remove from your life, or it just comes with a part of the territory of doing what you do, like for me being online, I am inevitably gonna run up against some haters. It's just part of the territory. So I can't completely get rid of them, but I can be the bigger person and handle them with grace and ease and care. So this video is for how to deal with haters or people in your life who maybe you don't want to totally get rid of them, but you just want to handle them differently in a way where you don't engage with their negativity so that it doesn't bring you down, but you're still choosing to keep them in your life for whatever reason that is valid to you. So there's a few methods. I'm gonna ramble them off because I didn't write this video down. I literally just meditated for 4 minutes and 44 seconds like I've been doing with most of these videos, and then just going off of what comes to me. So this is in no particular order. Okay, so the first method that we're going to talk about is getting rid of them completely. I want to say this: you can do that with any person or anything, but remember, if you don't deal with the actual reasons behind why you're attracting them into your life, they're just going to come back in different forms and different people. So keep that in mind. If you cut one out, you might find that same person in somebody else later. So removing them is one option, but again, like I said, it's like using a fly swatter. You're only getting rid of the fly that's in front of you. You're not getting to the root cause. And the root cause could be anything. It could be your own insecurities. When somebody's saying things to you that are negative, if it doesn't resonate with you emotionally, you're just gonna be like, okay, that person's silly, they're making things up, like, okay, like, sure. But if it's somebody you really care about, or if it's somebody saying something that you actually genuinely believe might be wrong with you and is an insecurity with you, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna feel shame, you're gonna feel discomfort, you're gonna feel all different negative emotions. So until you get to the root of that shame or that emotional pain point, you'll keep attracting that in. So I would say the best best possible way is to go to the source, go to the pain point within. And that might cause the person to leave your reality, or it might cause them to change the way they behave and treat you. So once we get past that, let's say there are still people or things that are still being judgmental and critical of you, but you're looking at it and you're like, well, I don't feel insecure about that, or ashamed of it, or whatever you might typically feel because you worked through it. But there's still people who look at you and judge you and are like, oh, Julia, you're so lazy, like you don't work hard. I've gotten comments like this before. Very rarely, but there's like 2 or 3 that I've gotten, and I'm like, you know, that's not true. And everyone else can see that's not true. So there must be something going on with this person as to why they feel like that about my life. So whatever is going on with them, we don't really know, right? But we know they're projecting something onto me, and I'm not triggered by it because I went through my mind and checked to make sure that this isn't an insecurity for me. And I know myself enough to know when something is versus when it isn't. That being said, there was a time in my life where I was, maybe some may deem as lazy, but I was really going through some really hard mental and emotional struggles. And the reason why those 2 or 3 comments hurt me a little bit was because I had a point in time in my life where I was in a really bad place and I wasn't able to do the daily things to maintain a life on this planet independent of other people. And also, there's nothing wrong with having a life on this planet that is interdependent with others. I think we need each other. So that's another topic for another day. But the point being is I saw where the pain point was in me, and I saw what was true, and I looked at the comment, was like, that's not true. But if they feel that way, that's their own stuff. So I validated in my mind and I justified what I needed to feel okay with myself. And then when I decided to respond back, I responded back in a loving and kind way, because I knew the only reason they would be saying something this critical or judgmental to me is because they're hurting inside. They're going through something, and I am just the punching bag for them in this moment to unleash their pent-up emotions. That being said, when you blast somebody with love, when they are hoping to get a reaction out of you, the only choices they have are these 3. 1 is to keep trying to get a reaction out of you. 2 is to see your perspective and realize, you know what, they're right, I am hurting and I am taking out my pain on this person, and then come to the light. That's the most ideal. Or the 3rd option is they completely vibrate out of your reality because you're vibrating at such a higher energy than they are that they can't continue to be in your reality unless they bring themselves up to your level, or you bring yourself down to your level. And by not fighting fire with fire, you can't bring yourself down to their level. And if they can't see your perspective of the fact that they are a worthy being just as much as anyone else here, they can't bring themselves up to your level, and therefore you guys can't be on the same plane. So the trash takes itself out, as some may say, or you just peacefully part ways. So basically, by blasting love energy at whoever tries to come at you with unkindness, will literally block their attack. Like if you picture in martial arts, I don't know that much about martial arts, but what I do know is the best, most efficient method, instead of attack your opponent, is to block their attack. So any energy that they are pushing out on you when they go to punch you, fight you, whatever, it boomerangs off of you and goes back to them. When you block their attack, I trust that example makes sense. I don't know the specifics behind martial arts, but I do know that when you block any energy, whether it's literally hitting the block button or just blocking a punch, it's going to ricochet off of you onto them. So when you hit the block button over iMessage or any app that you're on, all of that person's messages, they're gonna keep going into the ether, bouncing back, because they're not getting a reaction out of you. If the person trying to critique you, judge you, hurt you is not getting a reaction out of you, that energy has nowhere else to go but back on them. And when it goes back on them, it will force them to have to face themselves at some point, or they will go and find somebody else to put that energy on. But if you choose to not engage, you will never be brought down by that energy. And I know it can be hard sometimes, especially when it is a pain point within you, to not emotionally react and be triggered. But if you're dealing with a person who might be what some would say narcissistic, or just, you know, a person person who is not self-aware enough to understand that by hurting others, they are also hurting themselves, and they're causing chaos in the world that is just unnecessary. We are such powerful beings, but unfortunately most of us don't know it because of the conditioning we grew up in. And it's not our fault, we are not to blame, it's just how society is right now at this time. But the more we know and the more we realize, the more we can see our own true power is within us. And if we just don't react to these 3D circumstances or these little baits or bites at getting us to go down in frequency and energy, if we just stand in neutrality or in positivity, we can get through that and get out of it way faster. But I do want to say this, it's not weak for you to have emotions or to feel the urge to react to someone or something that is negative or hurting you. That's natural, and I think we need to express those emotions in a healthy way. I think we do need to tell others and share with others how their words, their actions, their behaviors make us feel. And if they can't work with us, then all those things that I was saying need to come into play. When they just can't see or hear us, when we are coming to them from a kind place, explaining how we're feeling. So all that being said, if you do feel hurt, sad, angry, all of that, it's normal. Express it in the healthiest way you can, work through it, and share what you need to share. And all that can be done from a place of kindness. We don't need to call people names, criticize, or judge them. But I assume since you're watching this, you probably aren't that person who was doing all that. But I have been on both sides. I have done that. I have had it done to me. And when you have experienced both sides, you get to a point where you're like, oh, I don't need to be adding on the extra layer of negativity when I'm feeling pain. I can just feel the pain, express it in a kind way, and move forward. And when we get to that place, we get through it so much quicker. It becomes way easier to communicate with others and navigate through unpreferred situations so we can get back to what is preferred. Anyway, I trust that this video was helpful and that the next time you're in a situation where you feel attacked by another, that you can stand up for yourself. You can block that energy blast that they are sending you and just blast them with love. And even if your efforts don't work and they can't change and you have to cut them out, at least you know you stood your ground and you stayed in your integrity and your authenticity. Anyway, I will see you in my next video next week. I love you guys so much. Bye.